Good afternoon, everybody. It is the top of the hour as we are about to start the Wednesday webinar here at TimeSolv, the tips and tricks to get the most out of your use of TimeSolv. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes here to maybe another minute or so and let people join who might inevitably be getting into the webinar here a few minutes late. So those of you that have already joined, certainly welcome to grab that fill up the water bottle one last time, whatever it might be. But want to let everybody know that you're in the right place, and we will be I will be starting in just about another minute or so. So hang tight, everybody, as we wait for the rest of the attendees. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on today's webinar. This is Scott Clayson, the Director of Marketing here at TimeSolv, and it is the September edition of our Wednesday webinar, the tips and tricks to get the most out of TimeSolv. So let's go ahead and get started. Hang on just a quick second. As we go about talking about the things that we want to show you this week, I think, or this month, I should say, it's going to be a little bit of a quicker webinar, I think, as the tips and tricks that we showed you shouldn't take too long to explain. So I think we might get done in maybe just over a half hour or so. And as a reminder, for those of you that have not attended a Wednesday webinar before, we essentially take all of the tip of the week emails that we send out generally on Mondays, but the one today, for example, didn't come out till this morning. The tip of the week emails that we send out to all of our owners and administrators of TimeSolv, and we turn that into a monthly webinar. So generally it's 4, maybe 5 tips and tricks that we always feel it's best, even though you can read about these various features in the tip of the week, it's always nice to see them in play. So this is sort of like your TimeSolv CLE for those attorneys that are sitting in here on this session. And we do this the second Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, a new time central, where I'm located in somewhat cool and rainy Minneapolis today, and 10 a.m. out in the Pacific time zone. So with that being said, everyone is on mute, and there should be a place where you can ask a question. You should see that at the bottom of your screen. I do ask that any questions you might have, please wait until we finish up with the entire webinar, and then we can take Q&As with the various topics that we covered. And I always reserve the right, I've done this a few times in the past, to, if I don't know the answer, I will be sure to tell you that, find out the answer, and email you the response when I do have the right answer. So let's get started on today's webinar. I'm very excited. I'm using a new headset today. It's wireless, so I can kind of move around a little bit more, I think, as I animate and use my hands as I talk. We're going to cover 4 different topics here today. First of all, we do have the new mobile app that was released. Finally, was available in the iOS store, the Apple store, the App Store, about a month or so ago. We'll talk a little bit about, and I'll show you some of the new features of the mobile app. If you have not downloaded the new mobile app, you'll want to do so. We'll talk about a new feature that we implemented. Everything actually this month is going to be on new features that have been rolled into place just recently. The second thing is going to be the ability to copy multiple time entries to a selected date. We've offered a new leads format, as you can see, and we just released last week a new feature that will enhance the security if you choose to implement it, and that is a password expiration. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about the new mobile app that we have for iOS and Android. And I'm actually going to share my iPhone. That is what I use. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. I've had pretty good success in sharing my device here. So we should see it coming up here in just a second. It worked just fine when I tested it just not more than 10 minutes before the webinar. Although now it seems to be spinning and not connecting, which is just fantastic. I'm going to give it a minute here. Best laid plans. This screen sharing worked just fine just a minute ago. So let's try this again. Perhaps I needed to be actually plugged in. Well, this is disappointing. Like I said, I'm just testing this just to make sure. I've shared my phone numerous times on Zoom, and it doesn't seem to be wanting to work right now. So let's talk about hang on a second. I wanted to first double check, make sure I have my settings properly, that I'm on the right Wi-Fi network for both of my, I think this is the issue, perhaps. Let me do one thing here. I'm going to connect to a different network here and see if that affects things. Okay, so let me see if things will work now. And it's still not connecting. Okay, well, let's talk about, though, a couple of things, and I'll even bring up here on our blog post. Let me share my regular screen here again. Oh, that's disappointing that didn't work. So let me, there's a few kind of nice changes that have been made to the mobile app. And here's an important note for the new mobile app. This is a completely different version of the mobile app. It's not just an update of the existing app. It was completely rebuilt from the ground up. So that's an important note to understand, is that you're going to have to actually go to the App Store if you're using an Apple iPhone, or the Google Play Store if you're using Android. Do a search for TimeSolv and actually download the new app, delete the old one. Okay, so it's important that everyone understands that this is it's an important development for us, in that we've brought the creation of the mobile app into the same environment that the actual application is built on. If you ever take the time and you're in TimeSolv, and if you see here at the bottom, it says that we are built with the OutSystems platform. That is our coding platform that we use. The old mobile app had been developed independently, not on the OutSystems platform, but OutSystems now has the ability to build mobile apps along with regular desktop apps like what we're using, or web-based apps. So we rebuilt the mobile app on this OutSystems platform. It's going to allow us to have a lot more flexibility in making updates to that mobile app in the future. So we're very excited about that. One of the major changes with the mobile app is when you create expense entries in the mobile app, you'll have the ability to attach receipts to the entry on your phone, just like you can do here in the web-based expense entries. You'll have access to your camera or your photo library, and you can take a picture of the receipt that you'll need to attach to, that you want to attach to the expense entry. Right now, you can choose a file here with our desktop version and go and navigate out towards wherever that receipt might be. Now you can do this on your phone, which is a great improvement. The other important thing that is to keep in mind is you still need to, once you create time entries and expense entries in the mobile app, like the previous version, you still need to sync those entries over to the main database. This is not, you're not just connected to the database when you're connected on your phone. In other words, you could make time entries when you're on a plane or somewhere where these days, everybody seems to have a connection to their device, whether it's on Wi-Fi or using their cellular data network. But for whatever reason you may be out of cellular data network, you can still access and create time and expense entries. But more importantly, that makes the mobile app much faster in the fact that it's not connected to the internet, and you sync it periodically, and your new clients and your new matters will come over to your phone. That'll make creating those time entries and those expense entries a much faster proposition for you. Then you just hit sync and sync it over to the main database, and those time and expense entries would appear right here in your app. And I wish, like the devil, that I could share my screen and show you this. I might just give it a try one more time here for just to see if we can't get it, because I was excited to show you all the mobile app on my screen. But gosh, yeah, it's just spinning again as I'm trying to do the mirroring. So no luck. Okay, I'll get back to sharing the regular screen here. Okay, so that's kind of the update on the mobile app. One nice thing, you do have the custom abbreviations that you may use when creating time and expense entries are still available in the mobile app. Like, you'll see the same icon. When you go right below the description field, you'll see this icon here, this little page icon. When you tap it, all of these descriptions will come up. You can just tap on the abbreviation that you want to use, and the entire abbreviation will appear in the description field, which is obviously a great feature. So let's talk about our next tip here today. Copying multiple time entries to a selected date. Previously, before the update that we implemented, if you wanted to copy a multiple time entries to a different day, like say both of these matters that I worked on today, September 11th, I have 4.7 hours here for client A, matter F, and another 5.3 hours, and so on for Aaron Brown. If I wanted to copy those to yesterday, like I did the exact same work, or maybe I just need to modify the hours, I would have had to do it one at a time by clicking on the day here, by clicking copy, clicking on the day that I wanted to move it to, and then hitting save and new. So, but you had to do that one at a time, and it became a laborious effort if you had many time entries that you wanted to copy to a different date. And this enhancement came from a firm that did a lot of the same repetitive work and wanted to be able to just copy those entries over to different dates. So the way you can do this now, where you can do multiple time entries copied to a different date, is you want to go under time to search. So you go into the time search area, and you can select the days that you want to search for. In this case, I'm just going to take today's date, and I'm going to hit search. And there's my 2 time entries that I have. You can use any date range that you want. If you wanted to do a little bit farther back and go from August 1st to today, we certainly could. And it will show me all those time entries in that time period, which is fine. I'll go back to just today, make it a little simpler. But when you have those time entries that you found that you want to copy over, the multiple time entries, you can just simply select them over here in the left column. And of course, you can select all of them by just selecting this box up at the top. So once you have all the time entries that you want to copy to a different date selected, come over here to the upper right-hand corner where you see this copy icon and link. Click on it, determine the date that you want to copy these entries to. In this case, I'm going to copy them to yesterday. Hit select. And now if I come back over to the time entry screen, and you'll see for the 10th, I have those same exact time entries. And now if I needed to modify them and edit them, maybe the exact hours aren't the same, I can simply hit edit, change it to maybe I only did 4 hours worth of work on this exact same type of effort, and then boom, it's been updated. So a very fast and easy way to copy multiple time entries onto different dates and then make your edits from there as needed. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about a new leads format that we made available for those that do electronic billing. In the past, we had what is the most popular leads format used in the legal industry today, and that is Leads 98B format. We also have made available Leads 98BI, which is the international version of leads files. And that has been sufficient for the vast, vast majority of our clients. But there are other leads formats out there. There is a Leads 2000 format, and there is a Leads XML, I believe it's called version 2.1 format. Essentially, the Leads 2000 and the Leads XML are XML files and not ASCII files. Don't ask me to get into the nitty-gritty details, but the difference is now you do have the ability in TimeSolv to choose Leads 2000 as the format you want to invoice your clients with and create that file and upload it to whatever clearinghouse you might use to submit leads files. So there's one of several places where you can select the billing format you want to use. As a refresher, you want to come under Clients and Matters. You would select the matter that you want to apply specific leads format to when you create the invoice. Let's say I'll just do matter B here for Aaron Brown. I'm going to click on Invoice Settings, and under Format here, the invoice delivery default, unless you've changed it, it's always going to be PDF. But in this case now, you'll see Leads 2000 is one of the options that you have to format. So now anytime you created an invoice for this specific matter, it would automatically create it as a leads file. And you can always do it over here as well from your drafts and from your sent file. You can decide that when you download it here, even to view it, you can select the Leads 2000 to view the draft invoice. You can go over to your sent invoices. Maybe it is already sent as a PDF, but you want to download it again, and again, you can choose Leads 2000 and so on. So you have all of those options in creating one more version of leads formatting. You can also click on the, no, you can't change it over here. That's right, in the format here. So, okay. So Leads 2000. So we now have 3 different leads format versions that can be used. And if those of you that sat in on last month's webinar, you'll also recall you have the ability to select multiple invoices on one leads file. And again, just a refresher on that, you could select these invoices, and if they're set up, I believe, I'm trying to remember now, if you hit download here, download them, you can choose PDF, and it's going to, or leads, I should say, and that's going to download it in one file for you. Or same thing from your sent invoice screen, select the invoices here. Okay, and then when you hit download, choose the leads format. And as you can see, actually, this is the place where you're going to do them on the one file. You can only do that for the 1990B, it looks like, and not the version 2, the BI, the international version, all on the one file, not the Leads 2000. We haven't had a request where, and I'm not even sure if Leads 2000 formats have the ability to have multiple invoices on one file. Not sure of that. So. Okay, so that leads to our very last tip. Told you we're going to be moving relatively quick here, and that is we just released the ability to set a password expiration for all of your users. This is another security enhancement that we offered and as an option for your account. Just like I think it was 2 months ago that we introduced the two-factor authentication so that when people log in, they would receive an email with an authorization code they would have to enter before they could access TimeSolv, that two-code authentication or two-factor authentication. So let's look at where you'd have the ability to, and we'll talk a little bit about the password expiration and how it works exactly. So you want to go under Account to your settings. And this is, by the way, also the same place where you could turn on that two-factor authentication as a reminder. But in the main general settings here, you'll now see right under the two-factor authentication a new row called Password Expiration. And you have options here of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. What that means is that every user's password will expire and they'll have to reset their password in whatever designated time period you selected. So if you select 30 days, then every 30 days, users are gonna have to reset their password. By default, all new and existing TimeSolv users are going to have this set at never. If you're a firm that's been using us for quite a long time, and you set this to let's say 120 days even, and as soon as you hit save, then automatically what TimeSolv is going to do is going to go check the passwords of all of your users, and if they have been created more than 120 days ago, it's going to make them change their password the next time they log in. So this is an important consideration that if you do turn this on, you're going to need to notify everyone at your firm that they're going to be prompted to change their password the next time they log in. I'm assuming the majority of users, when they first created their TimeSolv password, when they were first set up as a user, probably have not changed the password since then. Oftentimes they don't even remember the password because they might use a password manager, or they just have an automatic login every time they come in. So if they need to change their password, they can always hit the forgot password, get the password, and go ahead and get it changed. And then it'll change in whatever time period you have here. There are some softwares I use that I don't even get an option. It makes me change my password every 90 days, and I'm the administrator, and I don't even get, they just make you do that. So we at least have given you the ability to not use this security feature, but we would highly recommend that you do set this at whatever time period you want to have your users create a new password periodically. This is your guys' data in your TimeSolv account, and it's your responsibility, obviously, at the end of the day. It's both our responsibilities to make sure that data is safe, but you want to put use every tool available to you within TimeSolv to keep that data safe. And if that means for you turning on two-factor authentication, if it means setting the password expiration, those are two layers of security that will help keep your TimeSolv account more secure than it is by default coming out of the box. Also, another note, when you do set this at 30, 60, 90, or 120 days, users will get a warning 5 days before their password expires, giving them a run-up to the expiration date. So it would be very obvious and easy for them to change their password before it expires. Now, the very first time you turn this on, obviously, that will be an issue because like I said, most people will probably be past whatever time period you specified, and the next time they log in, they're going to see that they're going to have to reset their password. So that's probably the most important thing to consider when using this expiration for the first time. There's going to be like, whoa, a heads up to everyone at the firm. Okay, so like I said, we've gotten through things pretty quick. I'm going to try just for the heck of it one last time to share my screen, and I want to, yeah, I am connected to the right network from what I can tell. Try one last thing here, see if I can't get us screen shared. So I'm going to change. I have one other network I can try to connect to because I know my phone and my computer need to be on the same network. So I am connected there, it looks like. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Let's make some magic happen, right? And it's still just spinning. Shoot. Okay, well, we gave it the old college try. It's just not working for me. Disappointing, but that's the way it goes sometimes. All right, any questions about the features that we've talked about today? I'll quit talking here and let you all ask any questions you might have. Wow, I must have been really good introducing. I got no questions coming in. By the way, we do have another update coming to TimeSolv, probably going to be completed next week, I believe is when it should be into production. You'll be able to see it. That's going to have some fun updates, including, I'll give you guys a little bit of a teaser. We have more robust features in the Office 365 integration that we built. We haven't rolled that out in its totality send communication about it, but it is going to be a really nice way for you all that use Office 365 to create time entries right within your Outlook and to save your email communications in folders by the client and matter right within your Outlook, which is going to be a great feature. Another, I think, fun feature to be coming is if you start a timer within the application here, like if I'm under time entry here, and I start a timer for a time entry, and I navigate away from the time entry page, you'll be able to see the running time at the top of your screen, no matter what page you're on, and stop your timer from whatever page you're on. So excited about that. And another big one that feature the enhancement that will be coming next week is the ability to designate more than one originating attorney. And so the whole area of where you create your originating attorneys and select the commission that you want to give to an originating attorney will change a little bit. Again, this has been a request from a couple of firms to allow more than one originating attorney to be designated for any one matter. So fun things that will be coming, I believe, like I said, next week to TimeSolv. So look for it. When you log in sometime next week, we'll have an email blast that will go out about it with our release notes, and I'm sure we'll be talking about several of those items on our next our next Wednesday webinar, which will be on October 9th, Wednesday, October 9th. Mark your calendar. Again, let me know if you have questions about anything that you've seen today. You can always send, and I'll put this up here, you can always send any questions to support@timesolv.com, or you can call 1-800-715-1284, and we'll be able to help you with anything that you might need. So, since we don't have any questions that came in, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And we've spent about a half hour here, so just about as long as I expected. And I wish everyone a happy rest of the week, a happy rest of the month of September. And hopefully we will see you again at our next Wednesday webinar on October 9th. So thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of the day.